Pain in the legs is not always from age, not always from injury. Sometimes it's from forgetting how to move with purpose. In the Shaolin temple, we don't just train muscles, we train intention. Before you lift a leg, there is a thought. Before you stand, there is a choice. And when the body weakens, it is often because the mind has stopped giving clear instructions. There is one food, simple, ancient, overlooked, that monks have used not as a cure, but as a trigger, a way to reconnect, to bring blood back to the legs, to reawaken what's been dormant. But the food alone isn't the answer. What matters is how you receive it, how you eat it, how you sit, how you breathe. In this video, I will show you how a single practice done right can bring strength back to your legs in just 12 hours. Not by magic, but by mastery. You will learn what Shaolin monks know about tendon health, blood flow, and the way food moves energy, not just through your body, but through your entire system. Most people never hear these things. They chase strength without understanding structure. They train hard, but forget how to align breath, mind, and movement. By the end of this video, you'll understand why real power is quiet, rooted, and deliberate, and how you can rebuild that power starting now. Welcome to the Shaolin Soulfire. Subscribe and walk this path with us. You can't force healing, you invite it. In the temple we are taught, the way you eat reveals the way you live. If you rush the meal, you rush your life. If your breath is shallow, your digestion is weak. And when digestion is weak, the body doesn't just suffer, your spirit becomes scattered. The food I speak of is not rare. You will find it in many kitchens, but few know how to use it well. It's humble, grounding, it nourishes the blood, supports the spleen, and warms the lower dantian, the energy center in the belly where breath becomes power. But here is the secret. Food only becomes medicine when your breath joins it, when you chew slowly, when your mind doesn't wander, when your body receives, not just swallows. In Shaolin, a monk never eats with tension in the jaw, never gulps. Each bite is a form of internal training. The tongue rests on the roof of the mouth, the breath enters the nose, and the body becomes calm. This is how we digest, not just food, but emotion, memory, even pain. The legs especially respond to this kind of care, because in Chinese medicine, the spleen governs the muscles, and the stomach is the source of postnatal qi, the energy you gather after birth. You cannot strengthen your legs while neglecting the source of their energy. So the question is not what the food is. The question is, are you ready to eat with awareness? Are you willing to breathe with your belly, not your chest? To slow down enough that your body listens again? This is where the work begins, not in the training hall, not in the fight, but at the table, with one bowl and one breath. In the early hours of the temple, before the sun climbs over the mountain, we begin with stillness. No strikes, no motion, just breath. This is where the real training begins, not in effort, but in alignment. In Shaolin, we speak of Yi and Li, intention and strength. One without the other is chaos. Strength without purpose becomes recklessness. Intention without movement becomes stagnation. But when Yi and Li are united, even the smallest action carries power. This is the essence of Yijinjing, the ancient practice of transforming the tendons. It's not about building bulk, it's about refining the structure, breathing into the bones, feeling the length of a movement down to the fascia, the marrow. Each posture in Yijinjing looks simple, but it requires deep discipline. You must hold the form, not with tension, but with presence. The breath leads, the mind follows, and slowly the tendons stretch, not just physically, but energetically. They become conductors of intention. A warrior does not just train muscles. He trains the pathways through which energy flows. That's why a monk can hold a stance for hours, not because of brute force, but because his will is anchored and his breath is steady. Strength, in this view, is not sudden. It is cultivated over time through stillness, slowness, and precise awareness. It lives in the joints, the tendons, the breath, places most people never think to look. Yijinjing is not a performance. It is a dialogue between the body and the mind, between intention and action, between who you are and who you are becoming. When you unite your will with your movement, even standing becomes a form of power. And in that power, the body remembers what it was built for. Weak legs are not always a matter of strength. Sometimes they are a message, a quiet sign that something inside has stopped moving. In the old texts, stagnation is called yu, a blockage. It can live in the blood, in the qi, in the tissues that bind muscle to bone. And when it settles in the legs, movement becomes heavy. Steps lose their spring, the body feels distant from itself. Shaolin wisdom teaches that true movement begins within. Before the foot lifts, before the knee bends, something subtle awakens beneath the skin. A pulse, a quiet heat, a release. That's the level we train at, not just outer power, but inner circulation. There is one food, simple and warming, that has long been used by monks during times of recovery, not because it builds muscle quickly, but because it stirs what is still. It moves the blood. It opens the channels in the legs, especially the lower meridians that feed the knees and ankles. When taken with slow breath and calm posture, this food becomes more than nourishment. It becomes a signal. It tells the body, wake up, flow again. It encourages movement where there has been tightness, warmth where there has been cold. The fascia, those hidden layers wrapping every muscle fiber, begin to soften. And when fascia softens, energy begins to move. Not in big dramatic ways, but like thawing ice, quiet, gradual, alive. This is the beginning of renewal. Not a miracle, not a shortcut, but the body returning to its own rhythm, supported by food, guided by breath, held by attention. Wherever there is stagnation, there can be release, and where there is release, strength returns. One breath, one bite, one step at a time. Most people think strength lives in the muscles, that if you just train harder, push more, the body will obey. But in the internal arts, we learn something different. True power doesn't come from force. It comes from awareness. Inside the body is a hidden web, fine, elastic, and strong. This is the fascia. It wraps around every muscle, connects every joint, weaves through every part of you. It's not loud. It doesn't burn like muscle, but it holds the entire system together. Think of it as the mortar between bricks. The muscles are strong, yes, but without fascia, they pull against each other. Movements become inefficient, disconnected. You lose energy, you tire quickly. So the first lesson is not to lift more, it's to feel more, to move slowly, to listen. When you stand in a qigong posture and soften your breath, the fascia begins to speak. You'll feel length instead of tension, depth instead of tightness, a kind of quiet strength that doesn't fade. You learn to connect shoulder to hip, spine to heel, palm to foot, one structure, one movement. This is what makes a master seem effortless. It's not magic, it's integration. The training looks simple, but it's demanding in a different way. It asks for patience, for attention, for presence in the smallest sensation. Over time, you begin to sense the body as one whole, no longer parts, but a single flowing form. That's when power returns, not through brute effort, but through union, body and breath, intention and frame, strength that rises from the inside out and stays. Stillness builds more than silence. It builds depth. In the Shaolin tradition, the slowest movements are often the most difficult. To hold a posture, not for seconds, but minutes, requires more than muscle. It demands structure, attention, breath that doesn't rush, a mind that doesn't flinch. Pause, extension, flexibility, quietness, slowness. These are not accessories to training. They are the training. In still postures, every weakness reveals itself. Every imbalance becomes clear. The body can't hide behind speed or momentum. It must organize itself from the inside. This kind of training changes the way you move through the world. It teaches that strength doesn't have to be explosive. It can be quiet, grounded, and enduring. And this same lesson appears again when you eat, especially when the goal is healing. The one food used in this practice isn't taken on the go. It's eaten slowly, with breath, with care. Afterward, you don't jump into tasks. You rest, not out of laziness, but out of discipline. You let the body shift into repair, into circulation, into absorption. Digestion, like training, is not meant to be rushed. When you eat with awareness and rest with intention, the body does more than process food. It gathers strength, it restores rhythm, it clears what is blocked. The same energy you use to hold a horse stance is the energy you use to absorb a meal. Both require stillness and structure. Both are a form of practice. So, strength is not only built in the training hall, it is also built at the table, in the quiet moments when you are willing to go slow enough to feel everything and fast for nothing. Pain is a visitor. It knocks when something is off balance, physically, emotionally, energetically. But suffering, that's a decision, a habit of the mind. In the temple, pain is not feared, it's studied, observed, met with breath, not panic, whether in training or in recovery. Discomfort is treated like a signal, not a punishment. It's there to guide, not to break. This shift in thinking changes everything. Most people react to pain by pulling away, tensing, fighting. But resistance creates more friction, and friction becomes suffering. When the body is given the right nourishment, simple, warm, and grounding, it becomes more resilient. Not because the food erases pain, but because it creates better flow. Blood moves, tendons soften, tension eases its grip. And when that food is received with presence, slow chewing, deep breath, still posture, it becomes part of a larger practice. Mindfulness enters the body through the meal, through the breath, and through how we choose to respond. The pain doesn't vanish, but it changes shape. It becomes information, a kind of inner teacher. This is why mindset matters. If you meet pain with resistance, you feed it. If you meet it with attention, you transform it. Even a dull ache in the legs becomes a doorway to understand your posture, your breath, your habits. In this way, discomfort is not your enemy. It is part of the path. You learn to flow with it, to ride it, and in doing so, you grow stronger, not just in body, but in discipline and patience. Through mindful eating, steady breath, and quiet awareness, suffering loosens its hold. Pain may remain, but you are no longer trapped by it. In true training, the body is not divided. There's no separation between arms and legs, breath and movement, stillness and motion. Everything flows together. Everything listens to everything else. This is the meaning of structure, not just posture, but unity. The spine supports the breath supports the focus guides the limbs. When one part moves, all parts respond. Nothing is wasted, nothing fights against itself. In the beginning, most people train in pieces. They punch with their hands, not their whole body. They walk with their feet, not their center. They eat with their mouth, not their mind. This creates gaps, places where energy leaks, where tension builds, where strength is lost. But mastery closes the gaps. The breath deepens, the step becomes grounded, and the body starts to behave like a single form, whether standing still or moving through space. Everything is coordinated. Even food plays its role. The way it enters the body, the way it's received, the way it's digested, this too is part of alignment. If you eat without awareness, the system falls out of sync. If you eat with breath and intention, you stay integrated. There's no need to rush this process. It unfolds slowly, through daily attention, through repetition, through noticing how the body reacts, how the joints hold tension, how the breath shortens or flows. Mastery doesn't mean perfection. It means wholeness. You are no longer scattered, no longer pulled in 5 directions. Your body becomes one unit, quiet, clear, strong. And in that unity, every step becomes lighter. Every action becomes more precise. You don't just move, you move from center. That is the beginning of true power. Muscle takes time to grow. That's not the goal here. The goal is reactivation, waking up the signals that connect mind to body, breath to limb. In the first 12 hours, what changes is not size, it's clarity. The nervous system begins to remember. The pathways between your thoughts and your movements light up again. Signals that were weak become sharp. Delayed reactions grow faster. You feel more, respond better, move with less effort. But this doesn't happen through food alone. It happens when food meets attention, when nourishment enters a body that's ready to receive, not just physically, but mentally. In ancient practice, this was known. The body follows intention. You guide the chi with the mind. You guide the flesh with breath. Even recovery is not passive. It requires participation. The right food chosen with care, consumed with presence, provides the raw material. But it's intention that gives it direction. Calories feed mass. Intention feeds coordination. That's how real strength returns. Not all at once, but piece by piece, sensation by sensation. The neuromuscular pathways you restore are subtle. They don't roar, they whisper. You notice your balance improves. The leg lifts with more ease. The joint feels lighter, less uncertain. These are signs, not of bulk, but of alignment. And alignment always comes before power. If you build mass without connection, it collapses under stress. If you restore connection first, strength builds on a stable foundation. So, those 12 hours aren't about transformation, they're about reawakening, re-entering the body with attention, guiding energy with thought, helping the system remember what it already knows. That's how regeneration truly begins, not through force, but through clarity and calm direction. Mastery isn't found in a moment, it's found in repetition, in how you breathe, in how you sit, in how you care for your body when no one is watching. This one food isn't magic. It's a doorway, a reminder that even something as simple as a meal can become a path back to strength. If you eat it with awareness, if you breathe with your belly, if you move with intention, every day gives you the chance to reconnect, to feel the fascia stretch, to guide your energy through posture and calm breath, to let your body remember what it means to flow, not in pieces, but as one whole, living structure. So carry this practice into your daily life, not as a rule, but as a rhythm. Eat slowly, move gently, rest with purpose, align what you do with how you think and how you feel. This is the way of inner mastery. Thank you for walking this path with us. If the lesson spoke to you, like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. May your breath stay steady, your steps feel rooted, and your energy move without resistance.